sounds crazy, but it makes tons of sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
We're
like
still apes.
Yeah, they shouldn't be apes if we evolved from that point.
Apes. Yeah. Two chromosomes difference between us and apes.
So your wife has kept you alive.
My wife has literally kept me alive.
So most wives try to kill you. Elizabeth kept you alive.
She could have collected a lot of life insurance money, but she'd let me die in Turkey.
Yeah, and I was like, man, I'm sweating like a black man at a white woman's funeral. Like, what the hell is going in this? That was my first time.
Just make enough to survive, only living on the weekends. You really thinking that's why I'm alive? Busting out the scenes, time to live my dreams, do the things deep inside of me. This life, it continues with fighting me, but I don't have quitting inside of me. I will not jump in these boxes they throwing me. Talking to God and there's so much he's showing me. Shaping me, growing me, taking me sowing seeds. A growing tree, y'all get a load of me. Yeah, don't let them slow on me. I get the bag like a grocery. I'm on my grind like I'm supposed to be. And I do not care if you notice me.
Hey everyone, welcome to an episode of Forbidden Knowledge Podcast, my new Perseverance podcast. And today I have a very special guest. Now, you may know who this is, but I'm going to read this bio because the man's accolades are so incredible, I want to make sure I don't miss anything. John Salley is a legendary figure, both on and off the court. He's a 4-time NBA champion and the first player in history to win titles on 3 different teams, including the Detroit Pistons, the Chicago Bulls, and the Los Angeles Lakers. Known as the Spider for his incredible defensive skills and versatility, John made his mark as a key player in one of the most competitive eras in basketball, and I do mean the most competitive. So, John has become an inspirational force, advocating for health, wellness, and personal growth. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. See, right. 4 championships, forbidden knowledge. I'm so happy to be here.
Man, it's an honor to have you here. I literally have been watching you for years, just like you said, you've been watching me. I've been watching you for years. And I thought it was so amazing how you literally just went from team to team and achieved a high level of success.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of players bounce around like a ping pong ball.
Right.
And they just didn't, have that same level of success.
Well, they don't have the favor I have. Yeah. They don't realize, I realized that I was from a different planet. Is why I get along with you so well. I realized I was different. I realized I had energy, and I'm being humble about it. I realized, I used to tell guys, I said, when I can't lose. Yeah. And they used to be like, oh, Sal, that's a bad thing to say. When I was on the Lakers, we were down, I swear to God, Billy, we were down 15. And Phil Jackson goes up, we play against Portland, this game 7. And then Phil walks away and guys are wanting to say, I said, hey man, we just got to shoot threes. I said, y'all practice them all the time, shoot them. I said, just shoot, who cares? We down 15. And we wind up winning that game. But when we got down to 6, and I was sitting, I was leaning in and I was like, dog, we can't lose because I've already dreamt me winning. I've already saw it. Yeah. So we got to win. Yeah. And I knew once we won, I was like, we win the championship from that point on. Right. Plus we had that season and I've always were able to see things and see things. So when I first met Billy, if everybody needs to know, we were on Sean Mike Kelly. Shout out to Sean Mike Kelly. Yes. And we were in a group text. And so I kind of stole his number and was like, yo, we need to do business. Yeah. And Billy was like, why? I was like, because I'm a fan and you can help me and I think I can help you. So thank you for having me.
And listen, it's an honor, man. And that's a great story. I mean, like you said, you just have to understand how powerful we are. A lot of people don't understand the power of thought, the power of consciousness, the ability to walk in that power and truly believe in themselves. And I think that's where a lot of people seem to fall short.
And would you, when you explain it to them, when I've been to Egypt, and I've leaned on pyramids my whole life. Yeah. So you got different things. I've won championships. I've been successful in a lot of things. The thing I wanted to do was be in Alexandria. But the people who flew me to Egypt was like, what do you want to do? I said, I want to go to Alexandria. They were like, what do you want to do? So they wouldn't bring me. But when I got to go to the pyramids, I was walking around, and I like our tour guide. She took us to the museum. Yeah. went to the, she did what she was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
But watching you for so many years, it felt like you took me to all the places I wanted to go to.
Wow.
So I appreciate that. And, you know, you explain it better to most.
Yeah.
I dig that.
Appreciate
So I
it, man.
couldn't wait to get here.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is a nice ghetto over here in Orlando, Florida. This is a wonderful ghetto.
Well, you know, we do our best.
Yeah, I said, man, you in Orlando? Where?
Right?
I can't believe you in Orlando.
I want to talk a little bit more about Egypt before we go into a little bit more about your career. So I know you went to Egypt. It was a lifetime dream of yours to go to Egypt and see the pyramid. Can you explain to people how Google images don't do any justice to when you're standing directly next to it?
No, and the crazy thing is, when you get there, you know, they don't show you that, you know, people took advantage of it and built as close to it as they possibly can.
Yeah.
But when you're on it and you're seeing back, and you know, you see everybody with their hustle, with their camels and with their trinkets. When I walked at the base of the Sphinx, and you can see how perfectly the stones are, how smooth the stones are, and you can see how massive this thing is. And when you explain to everybody that it's not a tomb, it's a charging station. It's a better way of putting it. I was able to go there and think about it differently. I wasn't, you know, I'm old enough to the point when they first found King Tut.
Wow.
And that's when I got involved, when it came to New York City. And I was a little boy, and I was blessed enough. My school was ghetto enough to be able to go there. You know, when they had to start, you know, integrated and starting to let black kids do stuff. I was able to go to the Tut exhibit, and I was always wanting to go there and feel it. So when I realized it wasn't at first what they said they was, it was just guessing. And when I found out, I forgot his name. I want to say his name anyway. He was giving away false information on purpose.
That's right.
Now
his name's Zahi Hawass.
Yes. And he didn't want to acknowledge Africanism.
That's right.
So that right there, when I was like, every time it wasn't, like King Tut wasn't anything but a black kid.
Yeah.
And it just made tons of sense. I know the books I read, it was the thing. Like everybody has their thing. My thing was Egyptology.
Right. Yeah, it's an incredible thing. I mean, I remember the first time I saw the pyramid inside of an encyclopedia as a little kid living in Miami, and I was like, I got to see this one day, you know, and it manifested into reality. I knew I was going to see it, just like you knew you were going to win those games and get those rings. I knew I'd get a chance to see that pyramid. So kind of getting back into basketball a little bit, because, you know, I want to talk to people a little bit about perseverance, and it has to do with manifesting, like you have been able to manifest such a great life as well. You know, when you first got into sports, or gotten really into the NBA, let's say with the NBA, what were some of the obstacles that you had to overcome throughout your career?
Food, when to eat, how to eat. I explained this to some college guys. In elementary school or through high school, it's a team sport. We win as a team, we perform as a team. As a professional, each guy is a Fortune 500 company. This guy may be your teammate, but his job is to be the best he can be so he can stay. Now, this is the craziest part, Billy, that got me. The better you are, the better choice you are to be traded. So you can stay there thinking, I'm giving the team 25 points, 18 rebounds. You're now worth 3 players somewhere else. So you may think you're home, you're not home.
Right.
And when I was in Detroit, you know, I'm the one who bought the house in the city. I had the big, large house. I was doing television. Every celebrity was hanging out with me. I was tradable. So I learned that the adversity is, when you get traded, it's because you're worth something, not because you're worth less.
Gotcha.
And when I got traded down here to Miami, it was tough because I had a coach who didn't like me. I had players who felt I took the money that they wanted their friend to get, and we sucked. We were a great team for 36 minutes. And then the last 12 minutes, everybody was trying to hang out on South Beach.
That was true. I ain't gonna lie. I was at those games.
Yes, I was like, just let us win first. Then we don't have to. But we were the best team for 36 minutes. So the biggest adversity, I would say, is overcoming being a Fortune 500 company and figuring out how to play as a team.
Right. And when you're moving around from team, let's say you get traded.
Yeah.
How is it for the adaptability? Like, how can you adapt to all these different environments, different coaches, different coaching staff, different game plans, different plays, different defenses?
Right.
That's a lot of adapting. How do you change and adapt to all those different situations?
I didn't do it. It took me a year when I left Detroit, because Detroit is my first place. And they get you with we're a family. You don't trade your family, but well, you wish you could. Sometimes you wish you could trade some family members. But when you don't have the restaurant you used to going to, you don't have the turns, you can drive sometime to the arena and be daydreaming, but your body naturally knows how to do it. You know the security guard, you know the lady who handles this. Everything is cool. When you get to a new place, everybody looks at you with a side eye. That's everybody. Wow. It's man, I didn't like him when he played such and such. And then you come to a team where, I hit people. Well, I did. With somebody that you might have had some beef with. Yeah. And now you got to act like you're a teammate. That was the crazy part. So it's really hard to acclimate yourself into being wholesome. I give you a perfect example. Westbrook. Yep. Westbrook was great at OKC, but everywhere else it didn't fit. Even coming back home to Los Angeles didn't fit. But now in Denver, he's back to the same way he was playing when he was in OKC. It's a tough thing to get used to. Just finding your favorite restaurant, which is important because you got to eat, and is a hard thing to do. Wow.
Yeah, then never thought about that. So you really have to be able to adapt with change and find a way to fit in areas and places where people may not really want you to be.
Yeah, they don't want you. They act like it. And most of the time, if you get traded, you got traded for somebody that people thought were great in that position. And now you're in that position and they don't like you. They don't even know to like you. Right. So it makes you insecure. It makes you defensive. It makes you more selfish. And a lot of times it makes people alcoholics. Say, I like to smoke my drink, but now that I got older, I like to, cannabis was my choice. But when I was playing, no cannabis, no alcohol. I trained all the time. Only thing I liked was women. Wow. Okay. Still. Still only liked. Like if they would have called it a vice, that would have been the vice. But besides that, you wasn't going to get me to have alcohol. I was never smoking weed. And I didn't realize smoking weed, Billy, or dealing in cannabis, let me use that. Having THC in different forms, I probably would have played till I was 42 years old. I quit at 36.
Why do you say that?
Because they had me taking, I'm not going to say the name of the company. Ibuprofen. Is that the way you say? Yeah. Which damages your bones. Yes. I was on 6 a day, and it damages your kidneys. So it was guys like Alonzo Mourning and Sean Elliott. When they had the kidney problem, all you had to do is find out how much of this. And I used to take them like M&Ms. When I get up in the morning, I take 2, and then I get ready, do whatever. I go to practice. When I get in practice, I go, I stick my hand in, I take 2 more. And then after practice, you're icing down, you're doing an interview, you walk by, you take 2 more. Damn. And if it's a game day, you come into the stadium, if you get there at 5:30, you take 2 more. Oh, man. Because they're telling you that it's helping your tendinitis. Yeah. And it wasn't. And when I first got my first colonic and cleaned my body out and started doing fasts, that all of a sudden things wasn't hurting. And my colon wasn't compacted. Wow. And all of a sudden I'm stretching. not just stretching because they say, hey, go stretch.
Yeah.
I'm stretching. And I just realized, hey, if I were to take care of my body like a fine, oiled, Formula One car, I'd perform like a Formula One car. If I keep treating it like a junker, that's what happens to it.
Exactly, for sure. I recently had a bout with pneumonia.
Really?
It was stage 3. I actually had a near-death experience in the hospital. But one of the things that helped keep me alive to get from Turkey back to America, we were actually out on a tour with people when this happened. My wife, she gave me some peptides, thankfully, some thymosin alpha-1, which helped me with my immunity. She also gave me, ibuprofen.
Right.
And I think it was mixed with Tylenol. It was one of those combos. But you're right. It helped me stay alive now.
Yeah.
But by the time I got to the doctor, one of the things we did see was some damage to the kidney from taking so much of it over the course of those, couple week period. And that was just a short period of time. That's only just a few a day. So I can only imagine as an NBA player taking that many all the time to just deal and cope with the pain and the inflammation. Now I see how, players like Alonzo Mourning and many others can have these type of, kidney injuries, and he had to get a kidney replacement.
Yeah. And they don't explain to you how important your kidneys and your adrenals are. They never mention it.
Wow.
But literally, your wife is short, and she's a boss.
Right.
Just like the kidneys.
Right.
The kidneys are these little things, but they rule, trust me, they rule the body.
Oh, yeah.
And it took me a while to understand that. Like you said, I had pneumonia. I had pneumonia in 1991, and I had to tell them I had the flu.
Man.
And they were like, you only have the flu, Sal? You still come to the game.
Yeah.
I was like, no, don't you want me to get everybody else sick? They were like, so you don't want to come to the game. And that they make you feel so guilty. And I was like, no, it's not that I don't want to come to the game. It makes no sense for me to come to the game. And I couldn't tell them I had pneumonia.
Right.
Because they traded me 6 months after that anyway.
Right.
Once I had a stress fracture, they were like, I had a heart palpitation that was off. And then they put me on a monitor for 24 hours. And then everything was cool. One guy said, you're going to be traded at the end of the year.
Damn.
And I said, for what? He said, dog, they don't deal with heart problems. Sure enough, I was traded here to Miami.
Oh, man.
And my heart just started pumping properly. I was like, thank God I'm out of Miami. But I was so happy that I finally got to the point where I can be where it was warm. I needed heat.
Yeah.
Being in Detroit, my heart is in Detroit, but being in Detroit, it was too cold for me. I needed my African way of being.
Yeah, man, you got to have it, man. I'm stuck down here. I'm sorry. I can't go nowhere. I'm so glad my wife decided to move down here because she's from Detroit.
Yeah. And
she was nice enough to sacrifice everything and come down here to this beautiful, incredible place where we only get 4 inches of sand every year. So we're not worried.
Boy, I'm stealing that one. I got 4 inches of sand this week.
That's what we are. But but what you're talking about with like how they make you feel guilty and jealous and all of that, it's so real. I was at a game at a Miami Heat game in the old arena before they built this new one.
Yeah.
And Tim Hardaway was playing, I believe, on that court, and he was coming out of the back area, the tunnel.
Yeah.
And he stopped in the tunnel and he was actually crying. And I heard one of the trainers or somebody talking because I was sitting right at the edge of those chairs that kind of overlook the tunnel, but you can give high fives. And he was like, man, I just can't go out there. And they were like, no, you got to go out there. You're going to go out there. And he's like, man, it's just too much pain. I got to go. I don't want to go out there. And they guilted him into going out there and playing that night. Yeah. I felt so bad sitting at that game, watching this man perform, knowing his knee was in that much agony and pain. I mean, you see him now. I mean, great player. I love Tim Hardaway, but you can see his knees have completely collapsed inward. They're just, super knock-kneed now. But that's from all the years of playing and putting on the pressure.
And he was a big
dude. He was stocky.
Yeah, and it's a trip that you even say that. I was on a squad, and I know you can find the clip. We're playing in '88, and Isaiah twists his ankle really bad against the Lakers.
Oh, yeah.
They limp. And then I'm telling you, I'm sitting next to Zeke, and they're working on him. And I'm looking at him, and Isaiah goes like this. And he goes like this with his hands. I swear to God, you guys see it. And then he gets up and says, Chuck, put him in the game. And he scored 41 points on one leg.
Yeah.
But I watched him put himself under.
He went into a meditation.
Man, and I was like, oh, this is what I'm doing all the time. I learned in college how to float myself, they call it, where because I had anger problems. My best friend got murdered and it felt like no one cared. So I had anger problems, which a lot of guys have this mental, it's not just CTE from getting hit. It's the tons of pressure you have since you're a kid. Oh, you got a big game today.
Yeah.
No, you can't go out tonight. You can't go out. You have curfew. Make sure you go to like you're a prisoner. I call it gladiator. They put you in this gladiator situation, and after you perform, they put you back in the cell.
Yeah.
Except for football players, they're savages. But they put you back in the cell, and they want you to be civil.
Yeah.
They want you to be a killer. And then when you're finished being a killer, oh, we enjoyed the game. Thank you. Pat on your back. Take a picture with me. Hey, sign this piece of paper that I'm going to throw away when I get in the car.
Yeah.
All right, go back to your cell. And they don't ever let you figure out how to be human. I figured it out.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing because it seems like it is trauma.
It's
very
I have a lot of trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have trauma because, and I still talk to my teammates from Detroit. I talk to those older cats. It's like Rick Mahorn, James Edwards, Vinnie Johnson, Bill Lambert, Isaiah, and I are on a group chat. And there's guys that I played with that I never talked to.
Yeah.
I saw one guy, I was around him talking. I had to remember I played with him.
Oh, man.
He was talking and I was like this. I was like, oh, yeah, you was with me on, I played 15 years. I didn't remember. And they were so interchangeable that you don't totally, I'd tell you this. Glenn Rice down in Miami Heat.
Glenn Rice, big Glenn.
Love Glenn.
Yeah.
So I can tell you guys that I'm cool with. Keith Askins, Brian Shaw, Willie Burton. Besides that,
I just saw Steve Smith the other day.
Oh, Steve Smitty.
Yeah.
I love Smitty.
Yeah.
Besides that, some of my, and I don't care. Like I don't even see, if I see them someplace, it's a nod. One guy, I'm not going to say his name because I don't want him to get any light, did not like me.
Wow.
Did not talk to me. I could tell you 6 words he said to me in 3 years.
Oh, man.
Then I started doing movies and television. And then he wants to do movies and TV and reached out to me. I said, bro, you didn't talk to me when I was on the Heat.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, but I said, my answer is no. I want nothing to do with you. Do it yourself and tell everybody I said it that way. Oh, so yeah, I have a bunch of trauma that I'm working on letting go.
Yeah, it's a process. But it seems like in order to play at the elite level you played at and compete at that level, you have to have a lot of mental toughness.
Right. Michael Jordan.
Yeah, you have to have that. Yeah.
Yeah, if you have what Michael, Isaiah, Bill Lambert, Kobe Bryant, if you have that kind of, I mean, those guys used to just eat, sleep, and defecate the sport. Isaiah would sit there and talk to Joe Dumas on the phone while watching a game and looking at angles. And I was wondering what club I was going to. Okay. I was like, what time's the car? And they up there thinking about, if we double team him. And I was like, what? I don't want to think about it. So I had guys who were so intense in that part. And then it was me who, I'm not going to say I was good at separating, but I'm really good at separating my job and trying to relax. But it's a hard thing. And people think, oh, you got a game tomorrow night. Well, no, I have a game every night, every minute. Yeah. So I know you don't sleep that well, right?
No, I do now. I started finally getting, Elizabeth started grounding me with these grounding patches and grounding sheets.
Oh, you got that?
Cases, yeah. So now I'm getting some rest.
Bro, I wake up, I get sleepy at 10:30. Well, I'm older now, but at 9:30, but I'm up at 3.
Yeah.
And then I'm sleepy at 6. I still don't sleep. Dr. J told me, he said, you got to take naps. I was, and I said, give me some advice. He said, you got to take naps because you will become insomniac. And I have since then been really hard to sleep. It's same with me. So when I started my line, at first I had melatonin. Now I just have a bunch of magnesium.
Okay. Yeah.
And I had a grounding sheet. Man, my first time in a grounding sheet, I sweated. I don't know. I thought I was swimming in water. It was pulling everything out of me.
You were detoxing.
Yeah. And I was like, man, I'm sweating like a black man at a white woman's funeral. Like, what the hell is going in this? That was my first time. That was my first time on that grounding sheet.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, that's hot. That's hot.
Yeah. So the grounding has been huge because, I had a torn labrum from working out. I was doing weighted pull-ups and I tore my labrum. And the reason why my labrum was weak was because for years I had this autoimmune issue and I was taking a lot of prednisone. I was abusing prednisone to keep the rashes away. So it weakened all my ligaments and all my joints and so forth. And so that's the reason why it was weak. It tore and the doctors were like, 50-50 chance, this will be, repairable to where you don't have any pain or anything like that. And I was like, well, I'll let it heal on its own then. So when I met Elizabeth, I had this pain. I couldn't lift my shoulder up. I couldn't do anything. And the pain was just complete agony all the time, every single day. Couldn't even lay on my side. And that's my favorite side to lay on.
Wow.
So I had to give that up. And she slapped this patch on my arm, this grounding patch. She got the grounding pillowcase and the grounding sheet and everything. And I said, okay, well, I'll try this. I didn't really believe in it. And so that makes it even more important that I didn't believe it and it still worked because that could have placeboed myself out of it. And I woke up the next morning and without thinking, I grabbed my cell phone, which I know you're not supposed to do. I put it to my ear. I always do that. But I instinctively put it on the right shoulder and I pinned it to my ear with no problem. And after I realized my shoulder didn't hurt when I did that, I was like, wait a minute. And that was just the first night. And it just kept getting better and better and better. And now I'm back on the bench pressing, dumbbell press, everything I couldn't do that was taken away from me for over a year. It's all back. But
what's the name of the grounding? Do you guys have your own now?
We are ambassadors for earthing. So we have the earthing grounding package, which is the best. In my opinion, it's the absolute best because they're giving you the real grounding material, the real stuff that really works. And we take it everywhere we go in the world.
What's the company called?
Earthing.
Earthing.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to steal that company.
Okay.
Because this is the deal. You hear,
yeah.
I got probiotic toothpaste, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody then thought they had probiotic toothpaste.
Right.
So, and I get blessed that I have these teeth in my mouth.
Yeah. True.
That are strong. It's still, because a lot of people, they said it's hereditary to lose them. But I do so much to take care of these teeth. And I'm 60 years old now, taking care of these teeth.
Nice.
And I found the right company. That's why when you said earthing pad, and you're not saying it because you're endorsed.
Yeah.
That's when I get
the real deal.
This another thing I want to talk to you about is veganism. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I watch you and Liz talk about veganism. And it's true, I don't watch television. I only watch you two talk. That's what the deal is. I can tell you every single show y'all have been on.
Oh my goodness.
I know, and it's a trip. Like you wouldn't know that. But I kind of agreed with you.
Yeah.
That's where I really was upset because I'm a proud member of PETA.
Yeah.
But I had to agree to one point.
Okay.
It is so true that eating kale, which when I was growing up was a garnish. My mother was a kosher caterer. So we used to just use it to garnish.
Decoration.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then somebody was like, you should eat it. Mm. Now, I love certain kind of kale that I can massage.
Yeah.
We'll get into that some other time. But you're right. And I had to say this to so many people because, first thing Sean Mike Kelly did is send me your clip. I was brother, you acting like I didn't watch it live. Like I knew what was happening.
Yeah.
You're right. Not everybody is the same.
Yeah.
Is how I knew you was an alien. Yeah. No, it's not. It's just certain things are going to work different or required by certain people. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that one of these very, very strong vegans has said to me, because I believe in balance. Mm-hmm. Everything in life has to have balance. They were like, we want everybody to stop. And I agree. We should not mutilate or murder any sentient beings.
Yeah.
But if you say we shouldn't do it, that means somebody's going to have to in order to get balance.
Right.
And I'm glad that your wife makes sure that you understand grounding and you understand peptides. I had a guy who, one of the things we had to understand was enzymes, peptides. So many things are going on in these 73 trillion cells that go in your body.
Yeah.
So don't worry. One day we're going to go to eat and I'm going to take you to a vegan restaurant without you knowing.
Okay. All right. I'm going to find out. We're going to see, man. We're going to see. Listen, and the reason why I was a vegan wasn't because I was trying to save animals or anything like that. It was just when I grew up, we were so poor, we didn't have a lot of money for meat. So when we did have meat, I'm a texture person.
Right.
And I couldn't swallow. I couldn't chew it and swallow it. So I kept spitting out the food or hiding it or whatever. And my dad was getting so pissed off. He said, from now on, give this boy side dishes. So I started eating side dishes, and that's eventually evolved into vegetarian, then eventually evolved into vegan over many, many years, probably over 30 years. So it wasn't because I was like, but it's just, that's the way it happened. I'm a texture person. And to get back out of it, Elizabeth knows, my wife knows, it took a long time for me to gradually work my way back into these textures and just have enough confidence and courage to chew it and swallow it. It's just, this was hard for me. That mental, there's some kind of mental thing in there with the texture of certain foods. And even today, even it could be it can even be greens. It could be certain types of, fruits and vegetables. Depending on the texture, I might not be able to eat it,
I've been trying to help people so long that you have to realize some people, like I know someone who any tree fruit is terrible.
Yeah, yeah.
They break out, go crazy, any of it. And there's some people who can, like I can eat fruit only.
Wow, yeah.
Right?
Some people can digest, you have the gut biome to digest it.
Right.
Yeah, I know a guy, Action Jackson, we call him. He played for the Bengals, actually. And unfortunately, he is born where he can't eat anything except for meat and pineapple. That's it. Those are the only two things he can eat in his entire life. He can't even lay on grass, so he completely has a full anaphylactic shock. His vocal box, everything seizes up. His throat closes. He has to walk around with an EpiPen. But he was so good in football that Carson Newman changed the natural grass to turf just so he can come there. It paid off for them because he went pro.
Wow.
But that's crazy. But
my brother's the same. My brother is a pineapple eating fool.
Yeah.
And I said, Ron, it's out of the can. He goes, I live in Atlanta. They don't grow pineapple here.
In Atlanta. Yeah, but shout out to Elliot Jackson. Yeah, he's a real, former NFL player, and he can only eat two things every single day. That's all he can eat. And I've witnessed this myself for over a couple of years, being with him, being a good friend with him. He's even been here to the house and everything. But it's just amazing to see that that's how he has to live. So he's accepted that. I mean, he's perfectly healthy. I mean, he became a professional football player. But yeah, just another example of somebody who, for whatever reason, just can't eat everything.
Everything moves in this direction.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So yeah, it's crazy, man. But all right, so I got some peptide information here.
Good.
No.
Liz, you see how I made sure we got that wording, that name in? He said, it's not my first time doing television.
Yeah.
My ligament here, like literally the guy in Detroit was the only one able to show me how to work my tendon.
Wow.
And then right here, not too far, my stem cells, I have my stem cells pulled out of my fat.
Wow.
So I don't have a lot of stem cells, obviously. No, pulled out of my fat.
Yeah.
It was all here in Florida. And when I was 49, about to be 50, I did a burpee and I tore both of my meniscus.
Damn.
And at the same time.
Oh.
And then when they shot me with my stem cells, I was walking. And so they're stored here in Florida. And I literally wanted to do my shoulder, but I would have to come back like 2 days later.
Yeah.
So I'm getting my shoulder done. So when you said that your arm, it's my left side, you're right.
Yeah. No, stem cells are huge. We went to go, get stem cell treatment as well. And because I had a car accident in 2017, I tore a ligament in my back. And the pain just gradually got worse and worse. It never got better, worse and worse and worse. Again, surgery, the surgeon says, 50% chance you'll be all right in terms of not having pain again. So I was like, whatever. I just take my own chances, then let it heal on its own. But my wife introduced me to this gentleman who had stem cell treatment. So we did it several ways. I think it was Life Gains. We went to Life Gains. They injected directly into the spine, 2 treatments. Significant improvement. I mean, when I say significant, it was getting to the point where I couldn't even tie my shoes. I mean, I couldn't. And putting on my underwear after a shower, forget about it. I'd be in the closet in my room, like getting my breath ready, getting ready to bend over and trying to figure out how I'm gonna put. Then I got to sit on the edge of the couch in my bedroom and put one leg in at a time. It was getting that bad.
Wow.
And she said, no, we got to go get some treatment. So I did direct injections into the spine twice, and I did intravenous as well. Yeah.
So your wife has kept you alive.
My wife has literally kept me alive.
So most wives try to kill you. Elizabeth kept you alive.
She could have collected a lot of life insurance money if she'd let me die in Turkey, but she kept me alive for some reason. I don't know why she did it. She could have had millions and millions of dollars right now.
So what was that company?
That was Life Gains down here in Boca Raton.
Life Gains.
Are they in Boca? Yeah, Life Gains in Boca. Yeah, the doctor there, Dr. Gaines, the doctor himself of the facility, he injected my spine twice with stem cells.
Oh yeah, I got to check
directly
him
into
out.
the spine.
Yeah, so I turned 60 and I'm gonna live another 60 years.
I love it.
So since I know how to do it for 60 years, I know what I want my next 60 to be.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna be any more children, because they take life away. You give them life, and then all of a sudden you got to give your life to this little mother. No. It's going to be a bunch of traveling.
Yeah.
I met a brother from Turkey.
Yeah.
Who is going to start making my clothes.
Okay.
And he was like, in Turkey, whatever you need. I got textiles. He got everything.
He got everything.
He was like, yeah, I got a spaceship you can have. So Salman is going to hook me up.
Nice.
Funny you say that.
Yeah. No, we got to do some travel. We go to some of the most incredible places, and we have super VIP access when we go. So we'd be honored to have you as a guest on one of our incredible tours.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
How much does it cost?
Well, it depends on where we're going and what we're doing, So we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it for you. But it's going to, what we do is we do things that are so unique. Sometimes doors have been closed in areas, or crypts have been closed for 60, 70, 100 years. We get inside of those things. I remember we went down to the Serapeum, which I call Enki's Hall of Amenti at the Serapeum in Egypt. And there's a door in there that nobody really knows exists. And this door is a gigantic, heavy, probably 300-pound steel door with a huge bolt lock on it. Everyone's directed in the opposite direction of this door. And so we had gotten permission and a VIP access to go in that door. And they showed up, but they forgot the key to unlock it. So we made a call to the government, and they allowed us to smash the lock as long as we replaced it, which we did. And we took people in to see a 1,500-ton diorite stone box with a radioactive symbol on it. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So I hadn't been back to Egypt.
Yeah.
It was 2019. So I'm definitely going on one of your excursions because, you got access.
Yeah.
The other thing was they have a brand new museum. This guy told me whose house you can see the pyramids from. Remember I told you wouldn't believe that he's one of those guys that was wealthy enough to have his backyard. If you sit in his backyard and take a picture, it's the pyramids.
Yeah.
And he said, when this museum opens, you're only going to see 1/3 of what they have. He said, that's how much they have. Yeah. And he said, kind of what you said, if they released all the information, it would destroy the way we live life.
That's right.
Right? Yep. It would destroy because the stories then wouldn't, their timing, the 2,500, 2,025 years ago would not connect.
Don't connect anymore.
Right. Because how many years do we think we've been on the planet?
Well, people are trying to say that Homo sapiens sapien, this version of us is about 200,000 years old.
Right.
Now, hominids go back millions of years, but they're saying just ape-like, Neanderthal and all this. But I personally believe that the story is much bigger than that. And yes, this version of Homo sapien can be traced back to 200,000 years, because of chromosome number 2 in our telomeres. So we understand that was an artificial mutation. But as far as civilization goes back just as far. Now, in certain areas, certain pockets were more highly advanced than others, but there have been highly advanced civilizations farther along than where we are right now on this planet.
So that part right there is where you got me. Yeah. Dr. Ben Clark even said, by the time people are talking about things, Africa had already been in its 18th century, 18th dynasty.
Yeah.
In the 18th dynasty.
Yeah.
So in the thought process, when they talk about, and I was going to ask you this, when they talk about apes and like this guy said, if we evolved from apes, why are there still apes?
Right.
And it sounds crazy, but it makes tons of sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, like
still apes.
Yeah, they shouldn't be apes if we evolved from that point.
Apes. Yeah. 2 chromosome difference between us and apes.
So there were people who were talking about they can take certain peptides to extend your telomeres.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. We've been taking those peptides. It's called epitalin. So it's epitalin. And you go on a cycle with epitalin to extend telomeres, and we actually were taking that ourselves.
Okay, yeah, I got to get some, because that's how you extend your life. The longer your telomeres,
right?
Usually, the longer you will live. And the telomeres look like they almost look like a human without a head, right?
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
They're capped on the end of chromosome number 2, for example.
Right.
There's a telomere cap on each end, and when those telomeres run out of buffer material or genetic material, that's when you start the death process.
Oh man.
Yeah. So you got to extend those.
I am storming your medicine cabinet.
We got you,
I'm gonna say I'm using the bathroom, but I'm really be throwing a whole bunch of stuff. Get some of this.
We travel with a mini refrigerator with all the all of the peptides in them. All the insulin needles, especially since what happened to me in Turkey. We're definitely taking that stuff with us everywhere now.
I went to India and literally I didn't get sick until the last day in India because I wouldn't eat anything.
Yeah. Smart.
Right. No local food. And then I was so crazy that I was brushing my teeth. I had the bottle of water.
Yeah.
I was in the shower. I was so ready to go. They was like, hey, card in 15 minutes. I was, I'm very flexible. So I was washing myself with my foot, drinking water, brushing, and I drank the water from the shower.
Oh, no.
And on the way to the airport is when I got the bubble guts. And I had done so well.
Yeah. And
I told that story, and Steven Spielberg literally imported all of his food.
Yeah. Yeah.
He would not eat any, because you're going to get that parasite. Same in Thailand. They said if you go, you're going to get a parasite that goes to it. Right. I'm not going to it. So I'm doing that from now on.
So when we go to Egypt, we have a chef. We actually have 2 chefs on our cruise that we go to. So now if we're not in a boat, we're in like a 5-star hotel, like the Four Seasons.
Yeah, I love that hotel.
St. Regis. We're not staying in any, dumps. And so we know the food there is going to be phenomenal because they have a reputation to uphold. Mm-hmm. When we're on our Nile cruise, which we've extended to 7 days, we have 2 chefs and we have all the food is handpicked and imported. Some is local, but it's checked and it's from special growers or people that we know, we trust. And it's all done by Muhammad and Noha, our connection and our partners in Egypt. So homegrown Egyptologists, homegrown guide that live there, that are there, that can taste it, test it, and make sure. So when we do this, we know that when we take our people, like we just took 100 people, in October of 2024. And everyone had a great time and ate their hearts out. Matter of fact, there's a person here who ate, right? So Nina, she came with us, so she works with us and does all of our background and video and everything all over the world. And she was just always raving about how good the food was. So we do a good job in making sure that people get the right food and the right type of water, and that they don't get sick. Yeah.
So when your cruise is going down the Nile,
yeah.
So we go how far down the Nile?
We go all the way down to Luxor. Yeah, we stopped along the way about 5 different times. So we're getting off and we're going to all these incredible sites. We have 3 now, 3 brand new Mercedes-Benz tour buses with bathrooms on board. And they're brand spanking new. So the bathrooms are clean and immaculate. So you already know, when you go to some of these third world countries, you don't want to hop off and go to the bathroom unless you really have to, unless it's a group thing. But if you really have an emergency, there's a bathroom on the bus, and the buses are just phenomenal. I mean,
okay, I can't wait to go.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, I can stand in the back because I can see over people.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, yeah, I can't wait to get there. I am. When I tell you I'm so serious.
Yeah.
I had, you know, people would think, you know, what is some of the greatest things I've ever done in my life? Egypt.
Yeah.
And I've won 4 championships. I've been to 5, deserved 7.
Yeah, for real.
But deserved 7, been to 5, and I think it's great. But it's nothing like. I also, Billy, felt connected, and I'm not saying I'm Egyptian, but I'm definitely African, 100% African, and I just felt so connected. And I know we've been lied to so much in this country, and you know, if you were to build a country or build a civilization, you would have to lie to them too, because if you told them that they were gods or they were true and they had the ability, you know, you can't control that.
Can't control it. You empower them.
Right. If I told you, you know, you should just live life, endure life, not enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about the religion that does that, but you'll figure it out when you're in confession. But but when you have to do that, and you have to believe that something's outside of you, or you're not allowed to do something, that's slavery, mental slavery.
Mental slavery, abuse, and fear laden.
Yeah.
And those things are not anything to do with love. Yeah.
Preach.
Boom. Yeah, you know, and you know, I recently saw you in a few documentaries and TV shows. Like you were popping up nonstop.
Yeah.
And I mean, I went for a while not seeing you on things, and all of a sudden, everywhere I turned, you were popping up on my TV, popping up on documentaries and shows. I was like, what the heck? I got to get a hold of this guy again. Yeah, because we had, you know, we communicated, and then, you know, we both got busy and everything. But I think I saw you the last time in The Last Dance. Yeah.
Well, I'm an executive producer of a documentary called God Bless Bitcoin.
Okay.
So you can go to godblessbitcoin.com.
Yeah.
Another one coming out called Longevity Hackers with my man, Ed Norton. You know, he blessed me with the ability to do the narration. Last Dance, you know, MJ said, you know, make sure you talk to Sal. He doesn't forget anything.
Yeah.
And they know I didn't forget anything because, you know, I knew while it was happening what was happening.
Yeah.
and a lot of guys don't. They take it for granted. You know, the ones who are mean to kids.
Yeah.
The ones who won't sign an autograph, the ones who won't take the picture, the ones who talk like they're the only people in the room.
Yeah.
What's up, Tyreek? When you do that, you're painting the picture that film doesn't lie.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just saw this famous guy who has a television show.
Yeah.
He's in this African country. He may have had a bad day, but Walter Payton, I got blessed to know Walter Payton's sweetness. God rest his soul.
Yeah.
He said, when you leave the house, Sal, you belong to the public. You belong to your family in the house. But when you leave the house, you don't have any rights to you. So it was always better for me to be a nice guy.
Yeah.
Always better for me either to be funny, or if I didn't feel like being in the public, then I wasn't. I wasn't. You do not get to that point. You guys figure out who that guy is, but you cannot talk like you're the only one in the room.
Yeah.
And the reason I took time off is I wanted to figure out exactly. So you blessed me to do your podcast, but when I do mine, I'm doing one of them, or a main part of it is adulting 1.0. And the reason I say that is one of my daughters is in her late 30s.
Okay.
And the other one is in her high 20s. They're going to love that I put it that way. And the other one in the beginning 20s.
Yeah.
And if I asked each of them what they learned from me that they helped them in their adulting, it's a vast amount. Yeah. And I used to tell them, they used to think I was being mean. Or, everybody in the street think you funny, but you mean me. I said, no, you my daughter. And if I'm not tough, you're going to get run over.
That's true.
And so they figured it out. They got what they want eventually. Yeah. They asked me, my first answer is no, boom, boom, boom. But then they're going to get what they want. They had to figure out how to get to that point.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of things, small things, detail things that I think this new generation doesn't or hasn't been aware of. So you'll start seeing my podcast, which helps you as an adult.
Nice.
It's very human. As opposed to me just talking about sports. I could talk about sports.
Yeah.
But that's not going to change your humanity.
I love it. That's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I could see, it's needed, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I look at today's youth, and that's 30 and down, they're just, they're different than us. I'm 53 now. I'm a 70s baby. I was born in 71.
Wow.
So.
See, I got to get some more peptides. I got to get some peptides. I damn sure was thinking, I'm thinking you're like 43 years old.
Oh, man, we in the same category, man. We brothers.
All right.
I had no cable TV, 4 channels on TV cut off at midnight.
Right.
Encyclopedia was Google. I mean, I know the whole
God Bless America was being played.
Man,
they were brainwashing.
That's right.
You get the PBS and you had to look through it to see something.
Yeah.
So it limited our ability to see it.
Yeah.
So you had to read it.
You had to read it, man. You had to read it. And all I did was read. The encyclopedia salesman came to the house one day and gave my mother a whole set. And he came back for only one payment and he never came back again. Thank goodness, because we ain't have no money anyway.
I got the same thing happened.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
The same exact thing happened.
We're from the same planet. Wow.
Now that's the first time that was. You said that I was going to say, oh yeah, my mom's got it.
Wow.
Maybe my mom's did something I ain't know. No, I'm joking. No. I'm just joking.
Oh, no.
She dead now, but I'm just joking.
My mom's gone.
She was cute, She probably been like,
we need these books.
We need these books. Hurry up, my husband on the way home. Hey, take a joke. Yeah, but I read everything. So I also have a photographic memory. So I couldn't miss class.
Wow.
So I had pneumonia when I was in 3rd grade. I missed a month of school. I hated it. And I couldn't hang out with my friends. So soon as I was able to go back to school, I hadn't missed any class, until I was a junior in college.
Wow.
So I went to school even during the race riots in the 70s, 80s. Early 80s, they were race riots. And so for people who don't know, they started letting Black people and Puerto Ricans go into white schools. So they would bus us in. But I grew up in an Italian Jewish neighborhood in Brooklyn. So I grew up, my mother, we were the second Black family. I'm not bragging about it, but in 1958, my mother, my brother and them, they had beat up and smacked all the people. So by the time I was coming up, I'm little Sally. They were like, don't mess with the Sally kid.
Right.
But even at that point, I would not miss class. One time, Billy, I was the only Black person in the school.
Wow.
The custodian didn't show up.
Oh man.
None of the Black teachers, counselors, that's how violent it was in Canarsie.
Yeah.
So I walk in, I'm the only Black kid in school. And I never wanted to miss meeting. And then I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. So they convince you to read everything until I then started paying attention who the guy who invented Jehovah's Witnesses.
Russell.
Yeah. He was like, I'm writing an interpretation and you read my interpretation and my interpretation is the perfect interpretation of the Bible.
Yeah.
But it made me read, which helped me with reading and comprehension, which gave me higher scores. So everything worked in my favor.
Yeah.
But I've read those books through and through and through is why when I went to Egypt, I was like, oh, that's this. And then, but I'm not going to talk against my tour guide. She did the best, she did the best she could.
Well, we had tour guides before, over the years, because you have to use them when you're trying to get the lay of the land and figure out our connections and plugs, who our true people are going to be. So we went and we did our recognizance. But we had some tour guides before that were fortunate enough or blessed enough to really be able to express to us that the reason why they're saying this canned speech is because they actually have to. And if they don't say this canned speech, they can lose their license.
Really?
Yeah. This is the bull that they want the world to hear. And this is what you have to say, and it better be said this way. And if we hear you saying something different, we can pull your license and you lose your career.
So you remember when you first lost Forbidden Knowledge, when they just, on Instagram it was, when they just dropped you?
They dropped me, yeah. They deleted my account. It happened 3 times over the years, actually. The first time I was like, it was like the middle of the night, and I'm getting all these calls and messages and texts, and I'm like, what's going on? And I think it was my boy Cruz. He called me up, he said, man, your Forbidden Knowledge is gone. I'm like, gone? I said, nah, I was just on it a little while ago, it's fine. He said, I'm telling you, it's gone. I can't find it no more. And I went to my phone and I said, oh, shoot, I can't get to my account. What happened? It took my account down.
Who?
Nobody knows. Instagram don't know. Nobody knows. Facebook doesn't know. Nobody had an answer for me at all. Nobody had an answer. How I got that first takedown back up was I had an attorney send a letter to the legal department, and about a week later, it popped back up again. I had given up on it already. Then, a few years later, it got taken down again. I was like, what is going on? This time, the legal letter did nothing. I had to go through all this verification process, take a picture of myself holding my driver's. I'm thinking, are they trying to rob my bank account or something? Take a picture, and they gave me this code. Write this code on a piece of paper and hold the paper up with the code on this numeric, like 8 digits, and take a picture of yourself and then upload that. I did the whole process, and eventually they gave me the account back, which was bizarre. I took a leap of faith on that one. And then the last time they did it, I was just after around 2019-ish. I was almost at 1 million followers, almost at 1 million. I had just did Dame Dash Studios, and Dame Dash allowed me to do an Egyptian mystery school at his studio in Burbank, yes. And that was, my numbers were going like crazy, right? And then I was just about to hit 1 million, and then all of a sudden gone. I was like, oh my God, not again. And the reason why that last time was, they said it was an accident, that they accidentally deleted my account for advertising violation. I'm like, so I contacted their chat support, because I am an advertiser, and I gave them my advertising account number. And I spent the whole week, 4 or 5 hours a day online with these people, every single day on this live chat, trying to find somebody that would help me. On the last day, right before I was about to give up, I said, man, I shouldn't even get on this thing today. And I did it anyway. And the guy had some empathy for me, and he took a look at the account number and said, oh no, that was his text, oh no. I said, what is it? He said, this is the wrong account number for the account that should have been taken down. He says, I'll be right back. And he came back in about 10 minutes after having me just wait on that chat. He came back and said, everything should be restored within 3 days. And it came back.
You know, this is not even a plug. When I started realizing how social media has literally found its way into the fabric of everyone's mind, right? And that they can move media when they want to. Mm-hmm. It's almost as bad when they wouldn't tell you about something. And then, you know, I saw this guy on this network, TikTok, and he said something yesterday when I was looking at it. He said, you know, we haven't seen any wildfires. We haven't seen any aliens. We haven't heard it. Like, it all of a sudden disappeared on the 20th.
Yeah, gone.
Like, all the things we worried about last week or the week before, before January 20th, was going crazy. And then after January 20th, TikTok is back. None of that stuff is around. So I was going to ask you about CERN. Yeah. Is that real? Are we in a different dimension?
Real. Now, CERN did a lot of crazy experiments. And for those who don't know, CERN is the Large Hadron Collider located in Switzerland. It's a 4-mile-long machine. It's the largest machine in the world. And the nickname CERN is the acronym. Right out front, they have a Stargate, or a replication of a Stargate, right? And they have, I think it's Indra walking through the gate. CERN creates black holes. So they smash atoms together. So they run atoms around this gigantic machine, and then they get them in this huge loop, and then boom, they smash together, and they see what particles are made of. And through this, they've been able to learn a lot about the fabric of the universe. Now, one of the things they were able to do in this process, they accidentally started creating microscopic black holes. So when they figured this out, they were like, wow, we can create black holes, and we can experiment with black holes. So the world went crazy because they were like, wait a minute, what if the Earth gets sucked into the black hole? How can you control a black hole? And they were like, well, they're microscopic and they actually evaporate very rapidly. And since we don't have any way to keep them open, it would be safe. And so everyone was really opposed to it, but they did the experiment anyway, as they normally would do. So they started making microscopic black holes, and they claimed that there was no adverse effect to the Earth or any of us or consciousness or whatever. But in true reality, we don't know if we've had an effect. We don't know if we slipped into an alternative timeline. We don't know any of these things. We can only go by what they tell us and how our life is, propagating moment by moment at this exact time frame, in this exact second. So it's just like a big question mark. What did happen? What has been happening? We technically could shift into different timelines, or maybe these things really do just evaporate and disappear and don't have any effect on us whatsoever. It's a question mark. We just don't know. I do know that a group of people went there on a tour. This was about maybe 9 years ago now. And on this tour, there were these gigantic, clear, looked like to be glass plates leaning up against the side of the machine. And each one of these plates had glyphs on them, huge glyphs. So one of the people took a picture of them and uploaded them online and said, hey, can anyone read or decipher what these things say? And to date, nobody's ever deciphered those. Nobody, no linguist, nobody. The challenge has been taken by thousands of people. Nobody knows what those things said, where they came from. Are they from Earth? We don't know. What language is that? Nobody knows. So what would that be doing at a multi-billion-dollar machine like that? We don't have an answer. So there could be a lot of things going on down there.
Well, I know I'm in a different timeline.
Yeah, it's possible. Anything is possible, man.
Everything is possible.
Yeah.
Everything is possible.
Garnett. Like KG. Yeah. Right. How was it playing with Michael Jordan?
I love MJ, man. I've been friends with MJ since 1992. And we call him Black. So I my first television show is 1988. I had the John Salley show. And so I was shooting a pilot.
Yeah.
And I asked Michael to be on it. He said, yeah. So it used to be when they would come into Detroit, I don't know if my teammates know this. They would come into Detroit, I would go pick up Michael and or Horace, and we would go to dinner, do whatever, and then I'd drop him back off, and then we play the next day.
Wow.
And when people say, man, we wasn't friends or whatever, that's not true.
Yeah.
With certain guys you would go, if they would have recruited me to go to North Carolina, I would have been in North Carolina. But I went to a better institution at Georgia Tech. Just thought I'd mention that. Graduate. Didn't just go to school. But when, Blackwood, he's the greatest competitor.
Yeah.
I used to not mention it, right? I'd be on Best Damn Sports Show downplaying it.
Yeah.
I'd be on Vlad downplaying. I would do everything to downplay it because I understood how to do television.
Yeah.
And I had controversy. But people who know me know I know MJ is what he is.
Yeah.
But I also know I was on a team that made him better. And I had a major hand in helping in polishing the elbow of one of the greatest ever.
Yeah.
And that's the way I would look at it. Playing with him, I watched Scottie Pippen the other day on somebody's podcast talking about how selfish he is.
Yeah.
Greatness, in order to be great, you have to be selfish.
That's true.
And what I mean by that is when everybody else is going to the club or drinking 40s in my day or going to parties and talking to girls on the phone, you got to be in the gym. Selfish with your time. When everybody else is able to have an opinion in whatever, you don't.
Yeah.
You're the one they have the opinion about. So he laid the groundwork for LeBron to do the commercials and the movies and have a production company and know what it is to win championships and how you use them. Billy, with me, if I sign an autograph, it says John Spider Salley, 4-time NBA champion. It doesn't say my basketball number, which is 22 and it's retired at Georgia Tech. And should be in Detroit. Wink, wink. I don't say that. I can just talk about, I figured it out from him on what happened in your life and how you use it later.
Yeah, yeah.
it was the best thing in the world playing with him because he brings the best out of you. He is the best playing it. But I always say I played with one of the best players in the world with Isaiah Thomas at 6 foot.
Yeah.
6'1" on a good day. And so I've been around people who are just great.
Yeah.
And I like it. I like they take all the attention.
Yeah.
I love that, man. I love, hey, you get all the attention. Everybody's doing the hoo-ha, liar. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, man, everybody's looking at MJ. So while everybody's looking that way, you can look around and see what's happening.
Yeah, yeah.
And just being in the room and greatness. The last time we hung out around people was like literally 20 years ago now, was at the Kentucky Derby. It was the last time we ever hung out like that.
Wow.
But it was good being around him because, you know, it's funny when you're around him, Billy, everybody acts like, oh, MJ's over there. They are staring.
Yeah.
Like you say, oh, Michael Jordan over there. And they don't realize they go,
they still Black Jesus.
Yeah, Black Jesus over there. And he's over there smoking a cigar, drinking cognac, having his best life. I go, one more cognac and somebody say the wrong thing, they're going to get cursed out.
Oh, man.
Quickly.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting, man. Yeah, just, you know, to be able to be in a position you've been in to, you know, achieve what you've achieved, what advice do you have for people in any industry, whether it's an entrepreneur, whether it's sports, whatever? It can even be a kid coming up trying to find his way. What advice do you have for them that they could take away from your life experiences?
Be present. The past can't be changed. The future is not real. The only thing is being present. I got a recording artist named Veda Veli, and I always say, enjoy the moments. Not moment. Yeah. Enjoy the moments because they constantly keep coming. Yeah. And you get caught up, like I get caught up literally sometime in my meditation on what would I change in the past. And I tell all people this, if you change the past, your future doesn't exist. Boom. Right? If you were able to change the past, you know, it doesn't exist. If you go back in time, it's funny because the commercial says what I would say. If you can go back in time, when would it be? I'd be, it would, if I could see it, I would want to know what the lottery numbers are. Yeah. And pick that time when I find out what the lottery numbers are and then come back and then play them. Anything else, I don't want to see. If Jesus was around, I don't want to see Martin Luther King. I don't want to see that. Yeah. I've already seen it. Yeah. But since that's not a reality, I got to make it. And the best time, Billy, to plant a tree is 20 years ago. So that means you're 20 years late. Yeah. Just like I was 18 hours late on buying the Trump meme coin. I should have got it when it was 18 cents. Yep. So since you can't, plant the seed now. Yeah. And that's why I said, whatever you want to be, great. You have to plant it now, but you have to be present to do it. Yeah. That's my advice.
Incredible, incredible. This has been I wish, I could talk to you for hours. Oh, you make it so easy.
But this is part one.
Yeah, and exactly.
Part one. I'll come back for part two. Yeah. And we'll have more to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. How can people find you and what projects do you have going on?
You should go to johnsalley.com. Check out my link tree. Everything is there. Shop Better Life, BETTA, shopbetterlife.com. And that's where you'll get all my different herbs, not the ones with cannabis in them. That's Deuces 22. We'll talk about that. But I was going to talk to you about an app I'm involved with called Monetize, MONYTEZ, where you get paid to watch.
Love it.
So as opposed to just sitting around and losing brain cells on things or gaining brain cells, you can get paid to lose your brain cells. Okay. Which I'm going to talk to you about having your own channel. And I just got set up, and I'm very pro-Black. I'm not anti-white or anti-anything else. I'm just very pro-Black. Yeah. And I just hooked up with UNI, which is Unity. And I'm literally going to have all these channels that literally help us figure things out. Like some people think negativity works. The public like no, they don't.
No, they don't.
They just, that's all they had to eat. Yeah. So if all you give me is broccoli, then that's all I eat. But that's not really what you should do.
Facts.
So besides that, you'll see these. I got my own app coming out. I'm kind of trying to do what you're doing here, you and Elizabeth, by having my own and then give out to everybody else, as opposed you guys are literally pimping.
Yeah.
As opposed to being pimped.
Right.
Like doing it the other way was one way. Like when I see with Sean Mike Kelly, like I'm working with DAPS, that company, so I can do my TikTok lives.
Nice.
I got my recording artist, Veda Veli, and I've had a lot of artists, but she's we're going to drop every Thursday.
Wow.
Put some videos out, and then she'll take off, and then you and I, Elizabeth, a whole bunch of people will be, cruising down the Nile.
I love it. We're going to do it, man. It's already done. It happened already.
Good. See, and I didn't even have to pay for it. You heard him say it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great John Salley, 4-time NBA champion in the house, all right? This was another amazing Forbidden Knowledge podcast. Peace. Watch this video for free at www.4bk.tv or download the app on your smartphone, Fire Stick app, Samsung TV, Roku, and other app providers.